Alright lads, so today we're showcasing one of the newest characters in the game, the new Lost Agent Shinji, technically a 1000-year Blood War character, but in today's video we're going to be showcasing him in everywhere he wants to be used in. Using him as a link, believe it or not, we're going to try him out in Arena, and also just talk about the character in general while playing with this particular character. Now it's kind of funny how I ended up getting this character. I did end up buying the ticket, which unfortunately got me the wrong rose, but after that I then started to use a couple gold tickets, and I used 10 golden tickets and skipped it, and surprise, surprise, I got a new character on the release. I believe that's the first time, actually second time I did it for 7th anniversary to go. I pulled the new character from a ticket, so pretty exciting things. He is actually a pretty decent character, which we are here to demonstrate in today's video. So for starters, this Shinji is going to be a captain slash holo with the human kill ability. And since he does have this niche in terms of affiliations and also killer, there's a pretty decent chance that sometime in the future, whenever we get a new Senkaman quest, there might be a stage designed for this particular character. At the same time, more human killers is always great in my opinion, as that means we're just going to be expanding the overall roster of killers. So you're going to have a wide range of characters to use in the human killer guild quest, for example. Now for his soul tree, he has a 30% full stamina damage soul tree. This right here is very powerful and probably is one of the main reasons why you actually want this character. In fact, it's the main reason why I went ahead and got this character to level 10 SP, because that's going to be a soul tree that I can see myself using quite a bit in the future. As for the character though, looking at his skills, he has read all affiliation dodges with guard break, a 60% increase on his strong attack damage with an additional 55% full stamina, 30% coming from his soul trait, 25% coming from our bonus abilities, an additional 25 coming from our Chad link, and then he also does have a 20% strong attack damage buff to your entire team as long as you are a speed captain. And in rounding up this character, he has Diminisher, Frenzy +1, and also Element Reversal. So damage-wise, he has a lot going for him. He actually has quite a decent damage output, especially with that SA2, which is a debuff effect, which essentially lowers the enemy stats by 33%. However, this character does have a few problems, so let's quickly talk about those. So jumping into a single-player IT quest, usually I like to showcase my characters in co-op IT, but in this case, this character doesn't have any stat element, so I don't really want to try him out in IT, because realistically, lads, you're not going to use this character in Inheritance Trials, and that's the unfortunate thing about this particular character. I know a lot of times you are required to a certain extent to bring link shot characters like Noel, for example, but sometimes you just want to carry. Sometimes you just want to play with your favorite character, and in this case, you can't really do that with Shinji. So for those that are Shinji fans, you're kind of restricted on bringing this character in base, which isn't a bad thing. You can basically bring him everywhere but Inheritance Trials. Now, as you can see that we did actually lose our full stand, but what we can do is just take a bit of damage from this lad, because we do have Element Reversal, and that is again allowing us to get back up to full stamina, which I kind of do like. So he does have that built-in way to stay at full stamina to a certain extent. It is a bit on the gimmicky side since you have to take damage from certain enemies, right? That can inflict star limits, but you know, in certain situations you can easily set that up. But when it comes to single-player IT, I mean, I think he's good enough to be used. Like, single-player IT isn't that hard to begin with, but he's doing decent here. Now, in addition to the fact that he doesn't have any stats much, which is very weird, it kind of like, why did they not give him confusion? Like, this character easily could have confusion, but for some reason they didn't do that. But other than that, his SA1 is also the weakest part about his entire kit, and that's the most unfortunate part, because what you will see here is that our SA2 is a debuff attack, right? And as I already mentioned, it lowers the enemy's stats by 33%, their attack, defense, and focus. So it's pretty good for increasing your damage output, but the problem is that it only affects one particular wave, and it has like a 20-second cooldown. So what we can do here is kill this enemy, and then we can use our SA2 there, and it only affected this wave, and the ones that spawned in after aren't affected by the debuff attack. So what we're doing now is waiting around 20 seconds for our SA2 to come back, because it's on the slower side, and unfortunately our SA1 doesn't compensate for that. And they did the exact same thing with the most recent Barugan, actually, the Karakura one, or Tyrant Aspiration version, where you have a longer than usual SA2, so you kind of want to have a good SA1 to make up for it, and unfortunately he has that 18% range collision strong attack 1, which is unfortunate. If he had a beam forward, I feel like that would have been a lot better and a way more fun kit, and it would have made up for the fact that his SA2 had a longer than usual cooldown. Alright, so let's try that again and jump into another quest and see how fast we can actually clear this time. So SA2 does do some respectable damage. I do like that his SA2 is actually 100 AoE around him, which isn't too bad for a character like this. I do like that. Again, just unfortunate it's on the slower side. So we are going to be using our Nurturing quite a bit, which I guess is somewhat decent because he does He does some respectable damage on his Nitring since he does have that extra 30% full stam, which as you saw with the links that we are using, we have an 80% full stam for the most part, and that's actually pretty good. So that does allow our Nitring to do actually some respectable damage. But it is weird to me, I'm not gonna lie. I said this in the gameplay reaction, seeing a ranged Shinji is just so weird to me. Like, we have ranged Shinjis in the past, but they've been, you know, seasonal characters, and seasonal characters, they can do whatever the hell they want to. When it comes to characters like this, though, that are canon characters, it's weird to see Shinji do range attacks. But I do somewhat like his visuals. Like, his SA3 looks great. SA1 a bit on the boring side, in my opinion, but there's nothing you can really do about that. It's just very similar to his Nitring. And then his SA2 is actually very similar to the Calm for Your Old Shinji, actually, funny enough. So what we're going to do here is use our Soul Bomb. Very cool Soul Bomb, by the way. I love the way it works. By far, out of the 3 new characters, this is the best Soul Bomb of the 3. It just looks really cool. Don't have a Tenjitai on, and again, we don't have Killer, so we are on the slower side, which is why we weren't able to nuke there. Unfortunately, we did take a bit of damage here, or more so, we took a bit of burn damage. That's going to slow us down just a tad bit. And like I said, the debuff effect is actually a bit gimmicky, because what we can do here is use our debuff attack, and then use our Soul Bomb, and that allows us to do a tad bit more damage than usual, because the debuff can be good, but it's mainly in boss stages for the most part. So you maybe want to use it in Guild Quest. You can use it to affect the first boss, and then also the final boss. And you can also use in Epic Raids too, and that's probably the best time where you can actually use that SA2, as there's only basically one boss, and that does allow you to clear a tad bit faster. However, he doesn't increase any drop rates, so you're probably not going to see that many Shinjis be used in Epic Raids. But you definitely can't use him there, especially next month when we go against the Awakened Epic Raid of Yuha, where he might have like 50 million HP. Now, another great thing about this particular character that I do want to demonstrate here is the fact that he does have read all affiliation dodges, and this is where you're going to be probably happy to have this particular character, because what this does mean is that he can be used in these dodge quests to farm attribute scrolls. More specifically, the attack attribute scrolls. So a character like this, even though I'm not really going to use him that much, I am pretty much now guaranteed to use him every single week to farm attribute scrolls, which I like. I do need to farm the power ones occasionally. Currently, I was using Grimmjow. If you have Grimmjow, he does the job here. But Grimmjow's basically slower, so let's quickly jump into this quest. So because of this, it means that Shinji definitely has value on your account. He might not be a character you want to use, and you might not ever use him that much, but even my account, you know, I can see myself using him basically every single week when it comes to farming attribute scrolls, because he clears it fast, right? He doesn't have to go through the dodge. We did take a bit of damage there, but the quest itself is actually quite easy for the most part. Like, even with our full stam gone, we're still one-shotting with our Nitring. So with the long stride that I gave this particular character, we are able to go for it quite easy, although I'm kind of messing up here because I actually haven't played this quest for a while. But you know, even though we are clearing slower than usual, we are still going through that dodge, and it just saves us a lot of time and headache that these dodge quests usually bring. Grab that Soul Bomb and then just use our Soul Bomb again, and there we go. Nice and easy. So in 47 second times, which apparently is my new record in this particular quest, we've now gotten all these medium attribute scrolls. And then the great thing about this character, again, once more, is because it does have read all affiliation dodges, you can also use them to farm the small. So previously, we just did the medium attribute scrolls, and you needed to have Grimmjow, basically. So if you don't have Grimmjow, this Shinji definitely does do the job. And at the same time, if you want to get the small scrolls, and again, go through that dodge mechanic, you need to have Swimsuit Retsu. But if you don't own those two characters, you only own one of them, then owning this Shinji basically makes it so you don't need to own those two particular characters. All you need is to have just one character like here, and he does the job for both of those particular scroll quests. In this case, it's a lot more simple in the terms of these spawns, since we actually are going through this quite quick. And with that, we're already into the final boss, going against Ichigo. We're going to grab that Soul Bomb and then let it off. Lovely. Again, another quick clear time, 45 seconds, and with that, we've now gotten all those small attribute scrolls. Alright, so for the next part of the video, we're now going to showcase this character as a Link. I know, it's kind of weird, it's the first time we've done this on the channel, but in this case, it is obviously worth mentioning, because this is where you are mainly going to use this character. If you're not going to actually play with the character because you're not a fan of him, or if you're not using him to farm attribute scrolls every week, right? This is where you're mainly going to get the use out of it. And I don't think this is a bad thing in my opinion, because this is what these characters are designed for. We have other characters like him, like the Fierce Battle Renji, for example, the newly released Orihime and the Sorry But Attire. They're all rocking 30% full stam as their soul trade, and that's very powerful when it comes to Guild Quest nuking. In this case, as a speed character with 30% full stam, you are able to equip him to someone like Noel. If you are fortunate enough to have a max transcended, you can go with a build like this and get a very fast clear time, and let's quickly demonstrate that. Alright, so you know the drill when it comes to Guild Quest nuking. We go in, we Soul Bomb, didn't really get a good sync there, but it's fine, we'll just go with it. Can we get a good score? sub 5 seconds will take it. Definitely not the best this team can do. I believe both of my characters got actually poisoned there, so it wasn't really the best thing there. But still, regardless, the extra 30% full stamp definitely does help us. In this case, though, our Noel was actually a ranged character, so we could only do damage on our Soul Bomb. When it comes to the ranged weaker guild quest, though, for melee or no affiliation, well, we can do a bit of damage. That extra full stamp from that SHINJI link is definitely going to go a long way to increasing even our strong attack damage output. So, again, that's another place you are going to use SHINJI just as a link, but it's a good link at that. 30% full stamp is a great and powerful soul trait. Now, for the final part of the video, we're going to be taking this character into Arena. Now, keep in mind, he isn't an Arena character, but the way he was designed, he can be used in Arena. This is probably where you're going to get most of your usage out of this character, outside of just using him as a link or to clear those weekly quests. So, for starters, why can we use him in Arena? Well, keep in mind, he does have a decent damage output. He does, again, have read all affiliation dodges. So, as a Sorry Bomb, in a meta right now, with a lot of characters that have 50% chance to dodge Soripers, SHINJI just goes right through it, right? So that means anytime he wants to damage an enemy, he is going to be able to damage those enemies. Additionally, when you get this character to Arena rank 5, he also does pick up Long Stride, so he is actually quite a decent character. He has Elm Reversal, so you can get your full stamina back. You can also be quite annoying against other characters when you're playing against the SHINJI, if you do hypothetically inflict a Staz Summon on him. The Long Stride's going to allow him to be quite a fast character and, you know, be up to par with some of these other really good Arena characters. And then he also does get that extra bit of recharge in Arena, which allows his SA2 to come back even faster, and keep in mind he does have a debuff SA2, which is actually pretty decent in the Arena game mode. Alright, so who are we up against this time around? We have a Tsukishima, an Aizen, and also a 1000-year Blood War Ichigo. That's actually very bad in our case. Yes, we have Killer against Tsukishima, but we do have attribute disadvantage against him. Now, in Aizen's case, I guess we can demonstrate why SHINJI is actually usable to a certain extent, is that we can actually do damage to Aizen despite us being a Sorry Bar, because again, we do go through that 50% chance to dodge. And our debuff SA2 does do some respectable damage, and keep in mind, like I mentioned at the start of the video, the debuff doesn't actually have to hit someone for them to get affected by it. All we have to do is use our SA2, and everyone on the map is now taking significantly more damage. That is definitely be a close game. Let me grab that, go up here, use my Soul Bomb. There we go. Looks like I'm actually host, funny enough. So I do want to try and keep my full stam. What we can actually do, let me actually do that. And again, that's a good example here. Like, we actually would have died there if we didn't have the Long Stride. This character isn't really that good defensively, so we do not want to take damage from certain characters like that. Aizen goes down. What we can do is let those blonde guys hit us, and there we go. They inflict Lacerate, and now we're back up to full stamina. Gonna go up here, use my SA2. We win the challenge, lovely. About to score still from them. Gotta kill the little mini-mobs. They're about to steal. Nah, they couldn't. They couldn't. Lovely. Surprised we won that, actually, because they had a significantly better team, but this SHINJI can be quite a decent character. Like, I don't think he's like a very OP character in Arena, but because they did give him the reroll affiliation dodges, because they did give him the Long Stride, he can be used, and the debuff definitely does help occasionally. I do like this character, and again, I got him to R5, almost R6 now, with relative ease by myself, actually, so not too bad. And we actually were the MVP on our team there. Lovely. Looks like we were MVP the entire game. SHINJI putting in the work. So with that said, lads, that was the video for today, just showcasing the new SHINJI again, which was very lucky to pull this particular character. And like I mentioned in this video, he is a character that I'm going to be using quite a bit. I'm going to be using him quite a bit. I'm going to be using him every single week whenever I need to get power attribute scrolls, for example. And I'm always going to be using him as a link when it comes to my speed characters if I am trying to do a lot of damage in guild quests or in epic raids, for example. So while SHINJI is a character that is just pretty decent, like there's nothing like super amazing about him, he definitely does have value if you do pull him. He isn't a character, in my opinion, that is going to collect dust on your account. And for those that are SHINJI fans, he is good enough to be used in pretty much most of the content outside of Inheritance Trials, in my opinion. He makes a good arena character too, so overall, this SHINJI is pretty decent. Pretty decent. Better than I thought, in my opinion. He surprised me when I actually pulled this character. So, with that said, let me know in the comments below what you like to think about this SHINJI, and I'll see you lads next time. Peace.